Welcome everybody to our first ever Catching Up with the Coaches. I've got head coach Dave Rubio and assistant coaches Greg Whitus and Rita Stubbs here on Zoom for our first virtual meeting. And first of all, just wanted to ask how you guys are doing. How is quarantine work from home going for you guys? Dave, I'll let you start.
Well, there's certainly some silver linings to this, and getting some family time has been really, really good. I haven't been home this much for maybe since junior high. And so that part's been good. Getting on a regular exercise routine has been good, but I certainly miss the interaction with the players and being in McHale and catching up with the coaches and, kind of doing my job, when I'm kind of used to doing my job and from a day-to-day basis. But so far, I'm doing okay.
Rita?
I'm a true introvert, so being home hasn't been that hard for me. I've learned a lot, which is really good. A lot of self-learning going on, new activities, finding different ways to engage with the players have been truly enjoyable to me. And I am still getting up early in the morning, working out, and spending more time with the kids and the family has been a treat.
Greg?
I'm not fortunate like Dave and Rita to have family. And so I've just been on the phone a lot to my family and trying to stay busy with Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff that just is going on for everybody else. So I'm no different than really anybody else.
One thing that we've seen out of this quarantine work from home is a video that came out recently of Dave, you ballroom dancing with your mom. Can you talk a little bit about that and how long have you known how to do that and where did you learn?
Well, I've been talked into trying to put together some videos and make it a little fun and entertaining and maybe provide some a little more in-depth knowledge about me and kind of where I came from. And I took a lot of ballroom dance in college. And then when I got my first job at Cal State Bakersfield, part of my salary was in part would do with teaching. And so I taught ballroom dance. And so that's it's been a long time since I've done that. But my mom, who was a terrific dancer, and I remember growing up watching her dance all the different ballroom dances. And so we thought it would be pretty cute to put that together. And I had the right music to try to have the kids in the background playing, pretending they were playing the instruments. And so it was really fun to make, and I'm trying to figure out which the next video that I need to do to try to top that one.
Greg and Rita, did you guys know that he had those moves, or what did you think of the video?
I learned about that way after Rita.
I knew he
danced
did.
with Rita.
Yeah, he taught me how to dance. He taught me how to dance for a wedding back when I was just started working for him, and it was like formal wedding, and I don't know how to do that. So I was like, Dave, will you teach me? He was like, sure. It was hilarious.
Do you guys have any ideas for the next Dave Rubio video? Any other things that you know that he can do?
The kids are tossing out a few ideas, and I got a few kind of rolling around in my brain, but at this point, I'm not sure how it's going to take form, but there certainly will be another one before this virus ends.
I kind of want to see you dance in the pants with no pockets. Just one time.
The disco pants.
That's all because
Please don't. No.
Because I'm of the age, Dave. I was like 13 or 14, right? When you must have been the age of like Danny Terrio and Solid Gold. And I mean, I grew up on Soul Train and everything, but I know Danny Terrio had a pair of pants that you went out and bought, and no one knows who that dude is.
I don't.
Except for me and you. You know who Danny Terrio is. You probably danced with him in a club somewhere sometime.
I'd hate to share all the
polyester pants with no pockets from like 1980. Like the bike shorts, but no pockets.
Please don't, Dave.
And bell bottoms.
Right. And then the flare. I'm just saying. Wow.
That would be pretty entertaining.
No one
What
has
about-
that but you, Dave. No one.
What about if Greg or Rita made a video? What would those?
I think that'd be fantastic.
Any ideas?
Rita and I've made a video, and you put it out there, and you to much aplomb. We've
Oh.
already done that.
No, that was a hit. That was a big hit.
My video would have to be something that I didn't think about. I'm pretty shy if you ask me to do it, but if you catch me doing it on my own, then it would be the best one. So probably something to do with singing.
What about like a TikTok? Have you seen all the TikToks that I'm sure the girls are doing? Would you guys get in on
Yes.
some of the TikToks?
Me and the family, we have one. We're almost finished. I'm the slow one of the bunch, so it's coming. Yes.
I think that should be our next.
I'm completely ignorant about TikTok. I mean, I don't even know how to do it.
Yeah, count me in on that as well. I have no idea what.
No,
You know,
your kids can do it, Dave. We got you.
I mean,
Don't
I don't
worry.
have kids at home. I got no support. Danny, I have nobody to educate me on that stuff.
We
I
can
mean,
do that.
I'm in a similar boat, so it seems like Rita's our TikTok. You got to make our first.
My
Arizona
kids
Volleyball
help
team.
me so much. I actually got
Rita
the
and
app
Nick,
on my
yeah,
phone.
Rita, Nick, and Dave's kids.
Yeah.
Rita's kids, Dave kids, and Nick.
Yes.
How do you survive without that? I mean, that's what you want to know from a 50-year-old single dude. I can't survive without Dave's family, Rita's family, or Nick. And you think I'm kidding.
Oh, that's good stuff. So one thing that we've seen throughout this quarantine without sports is everybody kind of taking a trip down memory lane. With no current sports, everyone's taking a trip down memory lane. Do you guys have a favorite sports moment? What's your favorite sports moment?
Let me go first.
That's a great
You played the
question.
video, 1993. So it was on there. And looking at Dave, I literally had to go back and watch. Just looking at how much he's changed over the years and just seeing the crowd around. And so I emailed or texted Heidi and Barb and Michelle and Laura. And so we had this group text going on, and Trina and Melissa just talking about it. And literally it brought back so many good memories of what it used to be like. And I remember afterwards, first of all, that was Jenny who hit the ball out of bounds. So I got to tell her, I didn't know who it was for UCLA, but I saw myself turn and looking because I thought they were going to call a touch or whatever. And then they didn't call a touch and we won. But I remember at the end of the game, walking past the UCLA players and just looking at their faces. And I still talk to a few of them today, and they bring that day up all the time because it was a sore day in their life.
We've got some more cool videos like that coming out. So that was the first of many, I hope. Dave, Greg, do you guys have?
Well, that
Yeah,
certainly
I
brought
have
back
one.
memories. Go ahead, Greg.
I have one from my time. If I were to go back over all of my, 20 plus 25 years of coaching, I was going back about 10 days ago. I was going back over the Arizona Volleyball YouTube. And on there is there's highlights of when we beat Michigan State in 2016. And Kendra Dahlke took the last swing and killed she got the last kill to win the match. And the camera was shooting across the court toward our bench. And it captured me. And in the background, the only reason this is important is because, one, we made the Sweet 16 with Panina and Laura Larson and Kendra, Devin is a friend, all those kids, Mackenzie Jacobson, all those kids and all that had been through. And I had never been through 4 years with a group before. And that was Panina and Laura and Mackenzie Jacobson's 4th year. And we made the Sweet 16 and we won that match. And everything that was in that match, everything from after the first set, Dave saying, they're not superhuman, only way more colorfully, to Panina gaffing a free ball and passing it over the net, and me on the bench while I was sitting down just going, "Oh, Panina." And she turned around and was like, "Shut up." I mean, and everything that match just encapsulated for the program to get back, everything. My first 4 years with the group. But in the background of that match, and this was in what would be December of 2016, my mother was in the back of the match. And when Kendra killed the ball, I turned around and Dave and Rita were hugging, but my mom was about 10 rows back. And my mom was jumping up and down. You could see it in the video if you knew who my mother is. And she's jumping up and down with both hands like this. And I turned around and I just was like, yeah. And I remember that. And it was it's the best memory in my professional life. And professionally, to do that with that group for the first time, to Arizona to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2015, with that group, Panina and Laura Larson and all Khaled Mao and her whole journey, Kendra, what eventually was her whole journey, Devin as a freshman, all of that, that's the best thing that I remember.
Dave?
Well, there's 28 years, and there's a lot of things that are terrific memories, and it's hard to isolate one. And I think one of the, when I took the program over in '92, I think it was '93 that we ended up starting to make a little bit of noise nationally and within the conference. And we had lost 2 matches to ASU home and away. We were up at home and had a swing to win it in 5 against ASU at home. We ended up not winning. We ended up losing, I think, 16-14. And anyway, we ended up getting invited. And at that time in 1993, the tournament was only 32 teams, only invited 32 teams. So we ended up playing ASU in the very first round at ASU. And we had Dick Tomey come in and speak to us beforehand. And he told us a story about playing at Washington. And their mantra was, the worse it gets, the better we play. And so we kind of stole that mantra, and we ended up going up to ASU, and ASU was at the time one of the best teams in the very good, scrappy, very well coached, and we ended up beating them up there in 4. I think they were all stunned because they had beaten us 2 times beforehand. But that match certainly sticks out in my mind. We ended up going to the round of 16 because there was only one round you had to play before you got to the 16. And so that was a terrific match. But that year, '93, was kind of our coming out party. And we were able to beat a lot of teams and end up going to the round of 16. And so go ahead, Greg.
I can tell you, Danny, that I was a high school coach in 1993. And I was taking my teams to team camp at the University of Illinois, who had just been in the Final Four for a couple of years in a row and were nationally one of the top 10 teams in the country then. And as a young 23-year-old high school coach, I heard about Arizona and this young guy who had taken over
Handsome.
Winless program.
Handsome guy.
Dapper Dave is what they called him.
And this young whippersnapper, Dave Rubio. And this is in 1992 or 3. And I was dating a girl who played at Illinois. And they were in the top 5 in the country. And I can remember her telling me, there's this 30-something, 33-year-old young guy at Arizona. And that was the first time I'd heard of Dave Rubio or Arizona volleyball. I was still a high school coach at Effingham St. Anthony, sending my teams to team camp at the University of Illinois for Dr. Mike Hebert and working his camps. But that's when and then one of his assistants got a head job and took me with him. And he knew Dave from when they were kids on the periphery. and in 1996, he gave me my interview. Oh my gosh. And so that's my connection to Arizona. Cut that up. But
That's awesome.
those teams, I was hearing about them from former players current, who were in the top 10, and it was like Arizona. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
That's really cool. So let's kind of go off of that. Rita, you've obviously known Dave since 1992. Greg, you've known Dave since, you know, the mid 90s. What's your favorite Dave Rubio story, if you can pick one? And Dave, you can turn it back on them if you have a favorite story of one of them. Or a favorite memory, or
Too many. I
Okay.
can't.
First of all,
I can't.
it's not funny, but it is funny. Dave, do you remember when we were at ASU? Chris Lamb and I were on the staff.
Yes.
We beat ASU. I don't remember who was giving you high five, but somebody else was patting you on the back. Do you remember the order?
You were giving me the high five, but you got to set it up right because we were down.
He knows.
2. So we were down 2-0 to ASU at ASU. And at that particular time that year, now we're in the late 90s, 98, 99. We were on quite a roll. We were really, really good. And ASU, we had taken kind of stepped above ASU. We were a little bit better than they were. And we're at their place, and we end up losing the first 2 games. I mean, Dana Burkholder set a ball where a back set where the referee caught it. I mean, it was really a hard, first 2 sets for us. And people told me that Patty Snyder, who at the time was the head coach at ASU, was walking off the court and said, "This is going to be my greatest victory ever." As she was walking off the court. So go ahead, Rita. You can finish up.
You tell stories way better than I do. But so we come back and we win. Clearly it goes 5. I'm turning to give Dave high five. Chris is hitting Dave on the back. We dislocated his shoulder. So we don't know this, but he goes through, you have to go through and shake hands or whatever. And his arm is like out of socket. And I think it was Mitch was our trainer, right?
Right.
And Mitch had to put his shoulder back in. So to this day, I cannot forget the fact that Chris and I got him and dislocated his shoulder. All in celebrating.
Yeah, that was a very painful finish.
To a great win.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they hit me, my shoulder went out, and I dropped to the ground immediately because I was writhing in pain. And then I immediately I didn't want to, show Patty up, and so I immediately got up, and then I'm over there shaking her hand, and I'm writhing in pain, and anyway, everyone's celebrating, and I'm walking to the locker room. But it was, now it's pretty funny. Back then it was pretty painful.
Can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Awful. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I've got just one kind of like that and then another, but more serious. One, my first year, I don't know who we were playing, but Dave has these laminated lineup sheets, his own sheet that he keeps, and he holds on to it. And he's really subdued, very calm. And I had never worked for anybody in my career that had ever been what they would term to be calm, other than maybe Mark Rosen at Michigan, but his wife was the opposite of calm. And so I'd never really seen anybody throughout a match just act the way that Dave acted. But in my first year, at the end of the year in the conference, and we were fighting to make the tournament, and I can't remember who it was against, we got a terrible call, an obviously terrible call. And Dave, I can't remember what had happened other than I turned around and Dave was biting on the laminated sheet and was on the ground.
like on his back, like in a sport coat on his back, like a cockroach with his legs up in the air, biting a laminated sheet. And I can remember thinking then, I was like, I'm in the right place. I got a good boss. No card, no nothing. Because he'd been around for so long, whatever. So that's the first one. I can remember that. I don't remember who it was against. Maybe he will. But he was on the ground. Rita will remember that. He was on the ground.
Well, he was on the ground a lot. He's falling down.
My first year, 2013. Biting it like feet up in the air. Anyway. That's the first one. The second one is that what everybody else that works for Dave needs to know, and Rita can give you time after time of this, and she has instances of this too. My father died in 2015. I'd only worked here for a year. He died suddenly. I left. I called and, I left and went home. But at the wake, Dave showed up for the wake. And he showed up for the wake, and he flew into Chicago, and then he drove all around the country, basically, to make this work. But he appeared at my dad's wake. He didn't know my family or really me, but he did that. And I'll take that to my grave. And everybody that plays for Dave, works around Dave, that's what you get. And whether it's been current players going through this stuff that they're going through right now, with Marla being here, Dave is reaching out constantly and doing everything he can to help Marla, or any kind of, Rita has more history. I mean, Rita knows every player that's played for Dave since he's been here, but there's countless examples of that. And that's my second thing, that everybody needs to know that he didn't need to do that. I told him everything's fine and I'll be okay. He somehow showed up in Chicago, south of Chicago, Kankakee, Illinois. And he was in between there. He was in Charlotte and Atlanta and Indianapolis. But I think those are the three cities. But he somehow showed up in Kankakee, Illinois, which is amazing. And for doing this, for everybody to know, everybody needs to know that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll just kind of finish up with, everyone knows the impact that this has had on spring sports and winter sports, but with you guys are right in the middle of your spring practice with a mostly kind of new team. So can you just kind of talk about what this has been like for you guys, and how are all the players doing? How's the communication with the players, and just kind of what this last month has been like?
Well, it's been a dramatic change. I mean, it's not a small change that you kind of work into. I mean, and all of a sudden, you're going 100 miles an hour down to zero. And I think it caught everybody off guard. And the thing that people may not know about Arizona is that we were on spring break, and we left spring break on Friday. I forget what the date was. And everything was normal. We were going to come back, start our spring training, and go through a normal spring routine. And as the spring break wore on, the news got worse, and then they started talking about not bringing the kids back, and we're all going, that can't happen. And then by the time the following Friday came, it was like, they're not coming back, and we better start making some arrangements about how we're going to communicate with them. And so it's been a pretty dramatic and quick adjustment for everybody. But young kids are resilient, and I think as difficult as it may be, not seeing them every day, which I really miss interacting with them and connecting with them. I think that's what I miss more so. The coaching is terrific, and I enjoy that part of it, but I just miss being around them. But I think they're doing pretty well. I think for me personally, it's been great I actually think I get a chance to speak with them more personally now, individually, because of the situation that I did when they were on campus. So, the difficult thing for me has always been to try to establish a good relationship outside of volleyball. I think that's a tough one for all head coaches. I think this has given me the opportunity to do that. And so there's certainly some positives for my relationship with the players going forward. I think the uncertainty when we're coming back, it kind of weighs on everybody every day. And so for me, there's been some good things and some difficult parts of it too. But if you're an optimistic person and you find kind of a silver lining in any situation, regardless of how difficult it might be, I think you can still find some really good things that are happening despite the fact that we're not in school and training.
All right, cool. Well, that'll wrap up our first edition of Catching Up with the Coaches. So thanks, guys, and hope you stay safe and stay sane.
Great, Danny. I appreciate you doing it.
Okay.
Thanks, Danny.